Hi guys, today is 30th November 2018 and this is Daily Current Affairs brought to you by New IAS. And our topics are Reggae music, tribal conventions, Tendu leaf, Heatwave and our usual sessions MAP, that is Map Aided Program, and PQRS, that is Previous Question Revision Series. And our very first topic is the Reggae music. Reggae music. Recently UNESCO has added this reggae music to the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. So, the reggae music has been added to the intangible cultural heritage of humanity by UNESCO. And the reggae music is originated in Jamaica in the early 1960s. We know the famous popular pop singer Bob Marley. Bob Marley is also a key player associated with this reggae music. So, reggae music is added to the intangible cultural heritage of humanity by the UNESCO, and it is originated in Jamaica, and Bob Marley is part of this reggae music. The committee observed that reggae music acts as a music as well as a vehicle for social commentary. So, they observed that it acts as a music as well as a vehicle for the social commentary. And in addition to this reggae music, two more things were added to the intangible cultural heritage for humanity recently. One is the Georgian wrestling, that is Chida Oba, Georgian wrestling Chida Oba, and the Irish sport of hurling. So, this is the picture of Chida Oba. It's a martial art or Georgian wrestling practice, Chida Oba, and this is hurling. It is an Irish game or Irish sport. These two sports or particular things are added to the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. So, three things are reggae music, Chida Oba, and hurling. So, I have already told you about the three things that are added to the intangible cultural heritage. Now, we can go on to our surface, which is India, and which all the programs or have been added to the intangible cultural heritage. And the very first one is the traditional Vedic chanting. The first entry to intangible cultural heritage of humanity from India is the traditional Vedic chanting. And the second one is the Ram Leela. We know that Ram Leela is the traditional performance of Ramayana, Ram Leela. And Kodiyatam. Kodiyatam is a Sanskrit theatre popular in Kerala. And the fourth one is Raman. Raman is a ritual theatre in the Garhwal Himalaya region. Also Mudiyettu. Mudiyettu is a ritual theatre and dance drama in the state of Kerala. And the next entry is the Kalbelia folk songs and dances of Rajasthan. And also the Chow dance. Also Buddhist chanting of Ladakh. It is a special kind of recitation of sacred Buddhist text in the Ladakh region of Jammu Kashmir. This special Buddhist chanting of Ladakh is also part of the intangible cultural heritage. And next one is the Sankirtana. Sankirtana is a ritual singing, drumming and dancing which is common to Manipur. And also the traditional brass and copper craft of the Punjab is also part of the intangible cultural heritage. And we all know that yoga is part of the intangible cultural heritage. Nowroz is also there. Nowroz is nothing but the traditional New Year celebration by the Iranian people, and it is common among Kurds, Iranis, India's, Afghanistan and all portions. In India, the Parsi community mainly celebrate this event. And also the last or recent entry to the intangible cultural heritage is the Kumbh Mela. So, these are the entries to the cultural heritage from India, that is traditional Vedic chanting, Ram Leela, Kodiyatam, Ramman, Mudiyettu, Chow dance, Kalbelia, Buddhist chanting of Ladakh, Sankirtana, traditional brass and copper craft of Punjab, yoga, Nowroz and the finally Kumbh Mela. So, our next news is about the tribal conventions. Recently, the recent killing of the American missionary John Allen Chau by the Sentinelese people of the North Sentinel Island made these communities in spotlight. So, we are discussing about these particular communities or indigenous peoples or tribal peoples for more than a week. Because a American tourist was died, American missionary was died in the or was killed by these Sentinelese people in the Andaman Island. So, we are focusing on the conventions that gave importance to the tribal people. The very first convention is the Indigenous and Tribal Population Convention of the 1957. Indigenous and Tribal Population Convention of the 1957. This convention has been conducted by the International Labour Organization within the United Nations. And the convention gives primary focus to protect the cultural, religious, civil and social rights of the tribal people or indigenous populations. So, the first convention is the Indigenous and Tribal Population Convention of 1957, and it was conducted under the auspices of the ILO, or International Labour Organization, and the primary focus is to protect their cultural, religious, civil and social rights of the tribal people. And another important convention is the Indigenous Tribal Peoples Convention 1989. Indigenous Tribal Peoples Convention 1989, and it is also conducted by the auspices of International Labour Organization, and it insisted on a policy of non-intervention to the tribal culture. So, it insisted on a policy of non-intervention to the tribal areas, tribal culture and their unique and distinct features. And one of the main important features of this Indigenous Tribal Peoples Convention is that it is binding on international community, or it is binding on countries who ratify the particular convention. So, we are discussing about the two conventions. First one was in 1957. It is the Indigenous and Tribal Populations Convention, and the second is the Indigenous and Tribal Peoples Convention 1989. And when coming to the stand of India, India ratified the 1957 convention, but India fails to ratify, or has not ratified the 1989 convention. So, we were discussing about the tribal convention. There are popular two tribal conventions. One is the Indigenous and Tribal Population Conventions 1957 and the Indigenous and Tribal Population Conventions 1989. Both were conducted by the International Labour Organization, in which first one is not binding while the second one is binding. India is signatory, or India ratified the first convention and not ratified the second convention. And our next topic is about tendu leaves. Recently, the Odisha has requested the central government to reduce the GST on tendu leaves. Tendu or kendu? Okay, tendu leaves. And earlier the GST was 0, but the government has increased the GST from 0 to 18%. Thus, the state Odisha requested the government to reduce the GST. So, this was in news because of the particular fact. And we need to learn about the tendu leaves. Tendu or kendu, I think you are popular with the tendu or kendu. Tendu leaves is a minor forest produce. Focus on the term minor forest produce, MFP, used to make BD. By wrapping it around the tobacco. So, tendu leaves is this is tendu leaf. Tendu leaf is a minor forest produce, and we used it to make BD by wrapping it around the tobacco. And you can see the tendu leaves inside and the BD on top of it. Fine. And it is a leaf. Tendu leaf is a leaf which is indigenous to the species native to India as well as Sri Lanka. And it is very common or popular in the central Indian region. And in Odisha, it is known as the temburini. In Odisha, it is locally known as temburini. But it is popular by its local name tendu or kendu. And it is common in Odisha, Jharkhand and Assam states of India. It is commonly called as the kendu. And according to the Forest Rights Act 2006, FRA, Forest Rights Act, the tribal have the right to collect these minor forest produce such as the tendu leaves. So, tribals can collect tendu leaves from the forest as part of their right under the Forest Rights Act 2006. I already told you tendu leaves is a minor forest produce, or MFP. So, according to the Forest Rights Act, the tribals can collect these tendu leaves as part of their right. So, we need to focus on the minor forest produce, MFP. Minor forest produce is nothing but all non-timber forest produce of plant origin. Okay, all non-timber, not the word non-timber. Timber is not, wood is not allowed in the particular category of minor forest produce. All non-timber forest produce of plant origin. And the examples are bamboo, stumps, canes, honey, waxes, lac, tendu, and some medicinal plants and herbs. So, these all are considered as the minor forest produce, MFP, according to the Forest Rights Act 2006. Thus, the tribals have the right to procure this minor forest produce as well as to sell it as their product. So, tendu leaves is also part of the minor forest produce. They are non-timber forest produce of the plant origin, including honey, wax, bamboo and medicinal plants, tendu leaves, etc. So, our news is about the tendu leaves, and it is a minor forest produce, and it is indigenous to India as well as Sri Lanka. And the tribals have the right to collect minor forest produce like tendu leaves according to their Forest Rights Act 2006. And our next news is about the heat wave. And we have heard the term heat wave recently because India was particularly affected by the heat wave frequency in the recent incidents. And heat wave is nothing but it is a period of abnormally high temperature. Okay, it is a period of abnormally high temperature more than the maximum temperature or more than the maximum normal temperature. So, heat wave is a period of abnormally high temperature more than the maximum temperature during the summer season. Heat waves. And the heat waves typically occur between the June, July and March, or in between March to July, and it is predominant in the March and June months, and it can be rarely seen in the July month. Anyway, it is more in March and June months. And according to Indian Meteorological Department, the heat wave is nothing but the rise of temperature. The maximum temperature reaches 40 degrees Celsius in the plains and 30 degrees Celsius in the hilly regions. So, a simple definition is that when the maximum temperature of a plain reaches 40 degrees Celsius, it is considered to be a heat wave, and in the hilly region, maximum temperature reaches 30 degrees Celsius, it is also considered to be a heat wave. And the heat waves have a devastating impact on the human health. Okay, and the news is about the heat waves, and heat waves is nothing but the abnormally high temperatures during the summer season. According to the IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, the simple definition is the maximum when a maximum temperature of a particular plain reaches 40 degrees Celsius and in a hilly terrain it reaches 30 degrees Celsius, it is considered to be a heat wave. For detailed news and explanation, you can refer to the PDF. And our next session is the MapEdu program. On MapEdu program, we have Mount Soputan. Mount Soputan is an volcano in the particular Sulawesi island of Indonesia. So, Mount Soputan is nothing but a volcano in the Sulawesi island of the Indonesia, and we have already discussed the Sulawesi island in MapEdu program. If you are a regular viewer of this program, you have seen that Sulawesi island in one of the sessions. So, this Soputan mountain or Soputan volcano is also in the Sulawesi island. And Sulawesi island was popular recently because of it was struck by a powerful earthquake as well as a tsunami in the recent past. And Mount Soputan is one of the active volcano or most active volcano on the particular island. And we also know that Indonesia is very popular for its volcanoes because Indonesia sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire. It is a seismically active area, Pacific Ring of Fire. Thus, it is very common to have earthquakes as well as the volcanic activities or volcanic eruptions in the particular Indonesian islands. So, this is the various islands of Indonesia. You can see Sumatra, Borneo, Java, and you can see Sulawesi there. Sulawesi is in the orange color. Flores, Ambo, Bali, and lots of islands are there. And in the one of the hand of the Sulawesi island, you can see the Soputan volcano. It is in the second picture. You can see the Soputan volcano is also there in the picture. So, this is the Sulawesi island among the islands of Indonesia, and this is the Soputan volcano. So, our news is about the Soputan volcano or Mount Soputan, which has recently erupted, and it is located in the Indonesian island of Sulawesi. And Sulawesi was in news recently because of the powerful earthquake and tsunami happened in the particular island. Indonesia have a large number of volcanoes as well as common to the earthquake because of it is located in the seismically active Ring of Fire region, and the Mount Soputan is one of the most active volcanoes in the Indonesian island of Sulawesi. And our final session is the PQRS, that is previous question revision series, in which we have a question from the 2013 prelims in the environment area. And I am coming to the question. With reference to the food chain's ecosystem, which of the following kinds of organism is considered as a decomposer? So, with reference to the food chain ecosystem, which of the following is considered as a decomposer? 1. Virus, 2. Fungi, 3. Bacteria. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. A. 1 only, B. 2 and 3 only, C. 1 and 3 only, D. 1, 2, 3. This question can be considered as a very easy question because we know that what is decomposer. Decomposer is nothing but they are saprotrophs. They feed on the dead or decomposed material. Okay, they feed on the dead material. The organism that feeds on dead material is called as decomposers. And we are very popular with decomposers. We know that fungus and bacteria have decomposing activity. So, virus is not part of the decomposers, whereas fungi and bacteria are decomposers. So, the answer is option B, 2 and 3 only. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. For detailed explanations, you can refer to the PDF which is available in the description section. Thank you so much. Good night.